Hey, good morning, Michael. Ashley. Good morning, Miss Ashley. Uh, I figured if I couldn't be on Johnny's show today, uh, there wasn't any point in not having a show if I've got a channel. So why not just have a little bit of a Tuesday morning hang and invite everybody over? I saw your message, Carol. Um, I didn't know really kind of like what I could share and what I couldn't share. So, because I hadn't talked to Johnny about it, so I just jumped in and said, uh, "Hey, here's a he ain't gonna be here." So we'll see if anybody else pops in. I Please feel free to share out this live feed to anybody uh, you might know that's normally in the morning show, um, and we can get the whole gang back together. I did post a share in uh, Johnny's show this morning. I don't think he will fire me for having done that. So, uh, and if he does fire me, I know all of you will come to my defense. Everybody will save me. So I don't know if you guys have been following this. Uh, I had posted a thing on my Facebook about uh, my deal with the hospital and my hospital bill. That thing has blown up. Uh, I was not expecting what has happened with this. Uh, it, it it has had it's got something like 1,500 comments. I mean, I I'm really just kind of blown away by it. I guess a lot of people really were interested in the story, but uh, good grief, I had no idea it was going to be like that. I'm really genuinely surprised. Uh, so I mean, I got people following me over there that obviously I've never heard of before. It's bizarre. So, by the way, if you hear a bunch of squeaking, that's my dog Zeke. He gets upset when I'm not paying attention to him. So he does everything he can to get my attention, including playing with his squeaky toy. Patrick! Good morning, Sir Patrick. Nice to have you here. Good to see you. Always good to have you around. Look at this whole crew. Look at this darn attractive group of people coming in. I'm a lucky boy. Look at all these awesome folks. So what's new in everybody's life? Tell me what's going on. Tell me the good. Tell me the bad. Uh, Tell me what you guys are up to. I was on uh, Angie's show last night. I was on Monday Market with over at Angie's Oddities. Your Aunt Carol says hello to you. Yes, your Aunt Carol says hi. Um, I had the best time on Angie's show last night. It was the first time I'd ever been invited to be a reseller on a show. Well, not technically not the first time. Uh, I did do a show with East Coast resellers. I kind of popped in as an emergency fill-in candidate one day when somebody was running behind, but technically last night was the first time I was ever actually invited to be a reseller guest, and loved every minute of it. Angie really made me feel at home, and uh, sold a bunch of books and raised more money for the charity, and raised money for a no-kill shelter in St. Louis that my late friend Sandy would have loved. So it would have been, so I was really happy with the results. Carol says, Steve and I are going to visit Regina September 13th through the 17th. Well, I'm jealous. Why aren't you taking me? Why wasn't I invited? Why aren't you paying my way? No. I'm sorry. Why aren't you buying my airfare for me to come and hang out with everybody and a hotel room? Is that so much to ask? Is that going to be a road trip, Carol, or is that a? Oh, I guess it can't really be a road trip, right? Because you're back east, and Regina's somewhat west, if I remember correctly, where everybody's kind of at. Uh, so many of these reseller meetups going on. I'm really jealous. I know Johnny's heading out to. Uh, I know Johnny's heading out to the lake house, and I know he's doing meetups with folks. Um, so I am really. How come none of y'all come to Vegas? What's up with that? I mean, to be fair, it's summer in Vegas, and I don't really want to be here either. Uh, but man, how come nobody comes to Vegas? Everybody's supposed to come here. It's supposed to be the party capital. Says the guy that's normally an introvert and stays home and doesn't go out and partying. Um, that's how much I know about party culture in Las Vegas, because I'm such an active part of it. See, Michael, skip out on Providence. Just come to Vegas. You know, clearly she couldn't change her plans to be there for you. I'm right here waiting. You know, I'm generous that way. So what else is going on, folks? Tell me what's happening in your world. I could do the whole, Tuesday, the Tuesday stuff for Johnny, but I don't want to steal his thunder. That's his show. Um, got a lot of trips I have to go to first. You know, I'm just saying that I should be a little higher up your list. You know, it's you don't have to push me to the back of the list. I'm lonely. Um, I just have Zeke. My husband's not even here, so uh, so everybody should just come over and have coffee. Why have it online? Everybody just come over to my house. We'll have coffee. We'll sit. We'll talk. We'll discuss. A bellhop is neither a bell nor a hop. Discuss. We drive on parkways, park on driveways. Discuss. Everybody should come to Vegas. So shows this week. Who's got shows this week? Who is selling their wares on them interwebs this coming week? I know that. I mean, supposedly I have the morning show today, and the morning show tomorrow. I know. Let's see. Today is today. Friends selling with friends. I believe it is. If anybody's got access, uh, feel free to post that in the chat. If Friends Selling with Friends is today. Yep, Swampy Johnny's fine. He's helping Robert out, and you know, uh, sometimes things don't go as scheduled. So I'm sure he will fill everybody in tomorrow on their escapades with cars and mechanics and all that stuff. But yeah, it was just one of those things where Johnny just couldn't. He messaged me way earlier than I was awake, but he sent me an email letting me know that he couldn't do the show today. Um, so I hemmed and hawed. I posted that wasn't going to be able to do it because I didn't see anything in the chat about that, and then I said, well, I have EV Mux, and I already had the time blocked anyway, so figured I'd do a quick pop up morning show, and everybody was expecting to go and play anyway. Why not invite them all over to the Misty Media Diner and have everybody hang out here and come in from the sun or come in from the rain, and you can see it's raining quite a bit back there outside the diner. Out here in Vegas, though, it is nasty. It is 100 and actually, are we at 100 yet? No, actually, we're a little cooler this morning. It's 83 degrees in Vegas on our way to 106. Hopefully today is our last day of seeing really, really horrendous heat. We've been under a heat advisory now for well over a week every single day. Can you get an omelet? All you got to do, man, just tell us what you need in that omelet, and we will get it worked up in the back for you. That is what we do here at the diner. Good to see you, Chuck. But everything comes with bacon. So if you're vegan or vegetarian, I'm sorry. We're big bacon fans here. And tasty beverage of the morning. This is French roast with a mixture of oat milk and uh, heavy cream, and a little bit of spicy maple syrup. So maple syrup with a little bit of a habanero kick to it. Tasty, tasty, tasty. Bacon cheese omelet, scatter, yummy. Now, Swampy, are you the type that likes like a sauce over some kind of sauce over the top of your omelet? Do you like melted cheese over the top of your omelet? What uh, what gets you going? Robin, good morning, Miss Robin. Always good to see you. Thanks for stopping over. My little uh, my little attempt to keep all the morning folks happy. See, now you got me wanting an omelet. Ah, I shouldn't have said anything. I have nothing at home to make an omelet. You guys should see my refrigerator. Um, it is like condiments, and that's it. That is all I have. I have condiments. Uh, do I have anything else? Well, I mean, I got like the fixings for coffee. Outside of that, no food. All right, Swampy. Always good to see you, man. Much appreciate you stopping in over here and saying hi and hanging out with everybody for a little bit. Be good out there. Stay cool whenever you can. Wear a wet towel wrapped around your neck. Keep the temperatures down. Is anybody else out there dealing with big heat in their area, or have you got? I know it's been really bad in a lot of parts of the country. Just wondering if it's settled down anywhere. Um, something back to normal. Seems like Johnny's always got the perfect temperature uh, when he starts the show. I'm always jealous. Like, how do you guys do that? How do you have this perfect weather all the time? It's one thing I miss about living in the San Francisco Bay Area, um, where I lived for many many years. You talk about the weather just being perfect pretty much every day. You get those chilly, a little bit chilly nights, which are great. A little bit chilly of a morning. You wear layers because you're gonna need to take off some clothes during the day, or if you're like Carol, you take off all your clothes all the time. That's just how you are. Chuck says we've had beautiful weather for 2 days, 75 low humidity. Where are you at, Chuck? Where's home for you? I'm curious, but that does seem really nice. 75 and low humidity. Michael says I'm in Texas. God forgot to turn off the oven here. Yeah, what are you doing? Okay. Um, I one of my editors is based out of Texas, and he told me it's been really really rough down there. Um, so I feel your pain. I've been there. Southwest Wisconsin. What is it with all of you people in the Midwest? I've never seen so many people between Missouri and Wisconsin, and uh, my goodness, they used to joke that some of those states were like government plots because uh, whenever you ask somebody where they were from, uh, and they said the state, they were always from the same city, uh, like Wyoming, right? Have you ever met anybody from Wyoming that wasn't from either Cheyenne or Jackson, right? No, you probably never will. It, those aren't real states. They're made up. Those states kind of like exist in the Matrix. No, nobody's from Wyoming. Nobody's ever been from Wyoming. 170 heat index day. Hey, you're rivaling Vegas over there. That is nasty. And then you guys have the humidity to deal with like that. We breed like rabbits. Well, I mean, especially if the television goes out, you got to have something to do, right? Ashley's not in the Mind West. I know you mean Midwest. I'm not in the mind either. People tell you I haven't been in a mind at all for a very long time. Sane mind, no. East, west, north, south mind, no. Um, Chuck, I like you. I like you, Chuck. You're right up there with all the best of them. When I traveled, I always said I was from Madison or Milwaukee because no one has heard of most of our small towns, right? You try to make something up, and um, my stepfather was from a really small town in Kansas, and uh, boy, that's where you really I've learned so many small towns. I don't know if any of you have if you ever watch oh good grief, Ryan Hall. He's the weather guy here on YouTube. Has an amazing weather channel. Um, and boy, watching him cover storms from all these states. Regina, good morning. Super hug tackles to you. It's always fascinating to me when he starts covering states that are sort of like in the middle of the country, or and you're hearing all these small town names, and you're like, wow, I have, I'm in my 50s and never heard any of these names my entire life. Um, but I'm a little bit more familiar with kind of the small towns of Kansas just because of my stepdad being from such a small town in Kansas. Ashley says I'm on the same time zone but not the same state. Well, okay, so you're Pacific time. That doesn't necessarily narrow that down too well, but okay. All right. Good to know somebody else is in Pacific. I start feeling lonely out here. I'm trying to think who. We've got resellers out west. So there's Ellen. Ellen apparently is like 2 hours away from me across the Arizona border. Maria is out in California. I think ABC Matt, if I'm not mistaken, is that way. Michael says, you haven't experienced small towns until you visit. Wow, how do you pronounce that one? Wisache? Wisache, Texas? Main Street are wood buildings from 1890. The town has a population of 50. I love stuff like that, though. I'm really fascinated by uh, small town downtowns, and like downtown districts. Uh, for many years, I was a Walden bookstore manager in a little town in the southeast corner of Georgia named Brunswick. Um, Brunswick's really only known for the fact that there's a federal law enforcement training center there. Um, but uh, they had the coolest old downtown. Maybe a couple streets, but all the shops essentially relegated to one main street. And I love that feel. I love that feel of being able to walk through a kind of like an old historic downtown with classic shops, and there are no chains to be found anywhere. Everything is independently owned and operated. I love that. I also really love seeing pictures of those, or postcards that feature them. Uh, oh, Ashley's from Washington State. Wow, then, boy, you are definitely used to Greenland and wet skies. I love Washington. I used to be a touring stage manager back in 2002, 2003, and we played kind of all over Washington. Um, and I think we ended up spending I think it was like 2 weeks going up and down the same highway, just playing different spots up and down that corridor throughout Washington, and it was beautiful. I also had some of the best fish I've ever had in Washington. Let's see, Weesach. Oh. 4 buildings with a one-room wood jail across the street. Wood jail. Doesn't that make it kind of hard to like keep people in? You'd think you'd be able to just break out fairly easily from that. Uh, or is it like the old time saloon kind of style of you got the guy in the giant cowboy hat with the key ring with his boots up on the desk, and the drunk sleeping it off in the one cell that they have. Regina says Jim and Julie and Miss Marion, Becky, John, just to name a few more Pacific time zone. Oh, I didn't know that. I feel like I so rarely see Jim and Julie. It seems like the only time I ever see them is when they're on the Hump Day auction. Otherwise, I don't feel like I ever see them turn up anywhere. Yeah, Ellen is a couple hours away from me in Arizona. Uh, we keep saying we're going to get together. I hope we make it happen. She keeps saying she'll come out to Vegas, but secretly I want to go out and hang out on her farm. I want to go and see all the nanimals. Uh, I've never hugged a cow. This is on my bucket list of things I want to do. I want to hug a cow. Um, I don't know why it's on my bucket list, but cows just look like giant puppies. And everything I've always seen, they act like giant puppies. So I want to hug and pet a cow. There's a nasty comment in there somewhere that I could say I've already done that with my ex, but I won't make that comment. I'll just keep that internal. Has anybody else ever hugged a cow? Now, I grew up in Florida where cow tipping was a thing. So drunk rednecks would jump in their pickup trucks and go cow tipping. Has anybody else ever hugged a cow? Anybody ever wanted to hug a cow? See, my morning show is weird, folks. I make no apologies for it. I mean, I have to tone myself down when I'm with Johnny. This here's my channel. I can be as weird as I want to be on my own channel. That's what makes it fun. So what if I'm a complete head case? Oh, Patrick. Oh, whoa, Nelly. Oh, Nelly. Oh my goodness. Well, Sonia. Girl, how did you even know I was on? I didn't even turn on this thing to Facebook today. You must have subscribed. I appreciate that if you did. Uh, you had a cow growing up, Carol. I am so jealous. So, am I right? Are they like giant puppies? Everything always shows like the kid that's out at the barn and like curled up in the hay with the cow, and or the cow that has the magnificent relationship with the farm dog, and everybody's a love fest. I want a cow. Virginia says I've hugged a calf and also been stepped on by a cow. Eey. I've been stepped on by a cow as well. Again, we're not talking about my ex. Okay, maybe. My daughter wants to hug a Highland cow when we go to Scotland. Oh, I forgot you're going to Scotland. I'm so jealous. One of my authors uh, just arrived in Dublin, Ireland, and you talk about jealousy. Dublin's one of my favorite cities on the planet. I had the opportunity some years back to go to well, I was working for a software company, and we had a worldwide channel manager training in Amsterdam. And then uh, I ended up taking one day while we were in Amsterdam. I went down with a couple other channel sales managers, um, one of whom Regina reminds me exactly of. It's really funny. I mean, so close. It's not even. The first time I saw a picture of Regina, I thought it was this channel manager that I used to work with. But we went down to Paris for a day, came back to Amsterdam on the high speed train, and then I got the opportunity to go to Dublin after the conference for like 3 days. Wonderful city. I mean, just some of the nicest people. Uh, really, really folks. Really, really good folks. I wouldn't insult the cow to compare to my ex. Yeah, I mean, they both, you know how it is. They both produce a whole lot of shit. So I can say that word. You know why? Because it's my channel. And I don't post saying that my channel is meant for children. I don't apologize for anything. You would have thought growing up I grew up for the first 7 or 8 years of my life, I grew up in upstate New York, a little suburb outside of Syracuse. And there was a ton of farmland. You would think that we would have had more exposure to farm animals, and we just really didn't as kids. It's very strange. Looking back now, it doesn't make sense to me why I wouldn't have had more exposure to farm animals than I did, because there were literally farms everywhere, and a bunch of them were dairy farms. so it makes even less sense that I didn't see cows. My grandfather had he lived in Parkland, Florida, which is just outside Coral Springs on the East Coast, little town, and he had a decent amount of land, but it was still fairly suburban, and so he had a little bit of a farm. Uh, he had a barn, he had some horses, he had a chicken coop, so things like that. Um, but never really got the opportunity to do much else. Good morning, Joanne. Nice to have you here. I appreciate you stopping over. Uh, they're not cows, but I'm going to hug Mark and Mike when we go to Missouri. You're going to have to give hugs for all the rest of us that don't get the opportunity. Uh, you must be peanut butter because I'm all jelly over here about you getting to go see Mark and Mike. I keep saying they're like my adopted granddads. I never had none of my grandfathers were alive uh, when I was growing up. Well, that's not true. My mom's dad was a horrible human being, so I don't really count him. But otherwise I never really had a grandfather growing up, and there's just something about Mark and Mike that give off really warm grandpa vibes that I'm like, oh, can I adopt you? Look at all these nice people that came over to say hi. You guys are awesome. I just didn't want Johnny to think that, I didn't want Johnny to think that we couldn't carry this, we would just give up without him. We miss him. We wish Johnny was here this morning, but uh, you know what? Everybody needs some place to gather in the morning, have a positive send off for the day, uh, and enjoy being around people. Joanne says, I was born in upstate New York, a lot of dairy farms. My mom's cousin had a big dairy farm. Whereabouts in upstate, Joanne? Um, like I said, I was a little suburb outside of Syracuse. What about you? What part? And people that say that if you were from upstate New York, you're not really a New Yorker. Come on, people. Carol says, I was on the phone late last night with Regina booking my flight, car, and today I'll talk to Timeshare about booking a hotel. Woohoo! Look at you getting out and about. I am so jealous of you guys. I want to come see Regina. I want to go meet Carol. After the show last night with Angie, I really want to meet Angie in person. I'm glad you did too, Regina. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what to do, and but I was all prepared to hang out with everybody this morning, and I figured, I've got a channel. I've got, I have the other requirement. I guess nowadays you have to have EV Mux. So I figured, what the hell, I could probably throw together a meet and greet fairly quickly. Hi, Abby. Nothing serious with Johnny. Robert was having some car trouble. Johnny was trying to help him out with it, and it was just taking forever this morning, and they just couldn't get their timing down. So Johnny sent me an email early this morning saying that he wasn't going to be able to do the show today while they try to get it all done. And at first, I was just going to do a notice about that, and I was like, but you know. Uh, I got a channel and I want to see everybody too. So uh, I'll just throw up a quick morning show this morning and invite everybody over. And anybody that wants to come hang out with me is more than welcome. So I saw it. Oh, that's beautiful country, Joanne. The Adirondacks are gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. It's weird. I much prefer being in a city environment. I really kind of feed off that energy of the hustle and bustle, and yet I also like that complete opposite extreme of getting into like mountains with wildlife. I'm not a beach person. I married the wrong guy for that because uh, Luis is from Peru, and growing up, his whole life was kind of centered around the beach. But uh, I'm not a beach person. Ellen, your ears must have been burning, lady. We were talking about West Coast people, and I was talking about how uh, uh, I really wanted to meet you and get together, but I really want to come out to your place so I can hug animals. Uh, yes, I do want to see Ellen, but I kind of want to use you at the same time. You don't mind being used, do you? Yeah. Um, my grandmother had a Yiddish phrase that basically translates out to "You make plans and God laughs." Uh, and yep, just when you think everything's going to go smoothly, something comes up. We live close to Vermont. I just watched a YouTube video of a guy that uh, his goal was to take public transportation only from, I want to say I think he started in New York City and then went up through, went to Canada. The idea was take public transit all the way to Canada. And when he passed through Vermont and that area, I was just like, oh my goodness, like just how beautiful, how green, how lush. Um, you could just smell the Ben and Jerry's. Like it just was. mm, I want to travel more. I never have money, um, and or time, thanks to the day job. Uh, and uh, if you saw my Facebook post, you can understand another reason why I can't do much traveling. What about my husband, Ashley? His name is Luis. He is from Peru. Good morning, Miss Angie. I was telling everybody what a wonderful time I had on your show last night. Um, and how kind you were to me and how much fun we had. Uh, so really appreciated all that. The good news is your sound is off, so you can't hear how much I'm praising you. So now it can't go to your head, and you can't get an ego. So that's even better. Uh, John. Oh my God, folks. Oh my. Oh, John Connor's here, guys. John Connor is the secret sauce behind Misty Media. Okay, he's a name you're going to almost never see, unfortunately. Um, it would be literally impossible for me to publish a single book without John. John does all my formatting, all my layouts, catches everything that I miss when I'm putting books together. Is a brilliant mind in publishing. Has uh, his own publishing venture. Um, this guy's my hero. Um, he, there are not enough words to be able to say what John has done for my publishing house and for me personally. Um, One of the kindest people I've ever met in my life and one of the most generous. But the books would not be coming out like they are and looking the way they do if it weren't for John. John is 100% the secret sauce behind Misty Media, and I love him to death. So, everybody, please give a super warm welcome and a giant hug to John. Um, you know, the two key people with Misty Media, well, three, were always my guy Walt, who runs my science fiction fantasy imprint, Nazca Press, uh, Sandy, of course, who I lost a few months ago, and John. And John's been there almost from the beginning. Um, so yeah, I know I'm sitting here gushing, and nobody really wants to sit and hear that, but um, I've always I've always prided myself on being very open and very transparent about everything I do, um, especially when it comes to the publishing house. There's no secrets. Um, I tell everybody uh, exactly what's going on with the business because I think the more open and honest you are about it, uh, the more people will respect you for it. Instead of trying to cover up or make up stories or poor explanations for why things happen. People respect you a hell of a lot more when you're honest about what's going on. Ellen says a short drive and most of the critters will happily snuggle you back. See, I'll be sleeping in the barn or something. Like I won't even need a hotel. Just get me a good pile of hay, and I'll be happy. Ellen says if you really need a mood boost, head off to Oatman and hang out with the wild burros and their babies in the spring. Serotonin overload and cheese. Oh, cheesy garlic fries. Oh. I've heard that the burros are like some of the best companions to humans. Like they really, really like humans. Oh shoot, Angie can hear me. Drat. I also tried to take over her show last night. We had a technical moment, and I thought I owned her show, but sadly, I didn't get to take it over completely. And she heard me and heard what I was up to. So, um, well, you don't have a choice, Angie. You're gonna be sick that day. That's all there is to it. You feel a cold coming on, 2 weeks ahead of time. So that's a nasty case of pneumonia that you're going to come down with in 2 weeks. Tooch, driving and listening. That means you were also reading, buddy. Your eyes were not on. Your eyes were not on the road. Your eyes were on a screen. Otherwise, you would never have known that I was over here doing a live show of my own. Keep those hands at 10 and 2. Keep those eyes on the road. We will not accept anything else. Buddy, how am I supposed to take advantage of you and your 3D ideas if you're John says I do what I do because I do. I am what I am. That's all that I are. John, are you secretly Popeye the Sailor Man? Let's see. Angie says, I know Johnny will be in my area the week before. Don't know if I can off work 2 weeks around. Again, pneumonia. Okay. Pneumonia takes a really long time to clear up, especially walking pneumonia. I got a friend that could write you a note. I'm just saying. I've got connections. I've got people that you know they can hook a sister up. I'm just saying. I I work in publishing. Okay, how many authors do I have? Right, any of them can create a valid doctor's note for you. Oh, purple or pumpkin. Angie says, it's awesome you get to meet Regina. She's awesome. You'll have fun. Make sure you see the VW Beetle car up on top of the sign. You're making me jealous. Uh, John, you probably don't know anybody in this room. So these folks are all part of an amazing, amazing reseller community that I'm part of. They very warmly welcomed me in at the end of last year. I started off as just a buyer with this community, and then found ways to become a seller. There a couple of the people liked my sense of humor, um, and I got an invitation to co-host a morning show when one of the co-hosts was out uh, a few months ago, and so I was invited back this week to do the morning show Monday through Wednesday to co-host again. Unfortunately, the main host Johnny wasn't able to be there today, so he had to cancel the show. And I said, well, I was already awake anyway. So I figured I might as well go ahead and throw up a no. I really should probably rephrase that. So I figured I might as well just throw up. I just might as well barf. No, I figured I might as well put up a show since everybody was kind of expecting to be there anyway, and invite everybody over to the Misty Media Diner to hang out. So fortunately, everybody's here. Regina's a 6-hour drive for me, so I need at least 2 days off. So I guess I have the flu. It made a horrible comeback. You were doing fine, and then you got sick. It was really sad. Um, We're mostly nice, with a little off center. Yeah, I mean, most of the horrible people aren't in here. Wait, are they? Yeah, no, none of the horrible people are in here at the moment. Uh, we block them. Um, honestly, John, it these folks are are uh, are some of the kindest people I've met anywhere. They've been really, really good to me, and really, really good to Misty Media. Um, and I was very, very lucky to stumble uh, into their midst. Sister Agnes, she's Sister Mary Croissant. Now that she's lost so much weight, she's Sister Mary Croissant. Angie likes her job, and especially the paycheck. Paychecks are overrated, man. You can go anywhere and get a paycheck. Uh, yeah, Angie's probably more accurate here. We can be nice, but mostly just crazy. Aw, you're very kind, Angie. Had a lot of fun, John. John, you'll see all of your work if you check out Angie's show from yesterday. We uh, we sold a lot of books yesterday and did a lot of charity work, which I really appreciated. Uh, raised some money for not only the our in-house charity, but for a 24 for a no kill shelter in St. Louis, and all thanks to Angie hosting us on her show last night. But you'll recognize all the books that sold because you laid them all out. Uh, Joanne says, "Please don't throw up." Well, not on air. I Yeah, because I don't know if you're like me. I'm one of those people that if I hear somebody else doing it, like then I have to do it. So no, I wouldn't want to inflict that on anybody. Uh, Anal glaucoma. You can't see your ass going to work. I like that one. I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that for my own usage. I'll try to give credit, but probably not. Just saying. It's a me, Angie. It's a me. How are you, love? Thanks for coming over this to the dark side of morning shows, the dark side of morning talk uh, here at the Misty Media Diner. The I wouldn't say it's the anti Johnny show, but uh, you get away with a lot more on this show, and you know it won't be a regular thing because I don't, I'm not going to even attempt to compete with Johnny's time slot, and I have too much respect for him to even try. So, well, Ellen. I mean, remember, you can always be. Vegas is always in you. Once you've been to Vegas, Vegas is only in you, and as long as you have Vegas in you, you can drink anytime you want. So that's all that matters. Few sips of coffee so far. I don't know what coffee you're drinking today, Regina. I think you were out when I said what I was drinking, but I am drinking a iced latte made with French roast, oat milk, heavy cream, and spicy maple syrup. And you get that sweetness with a little kick at the end. That is a beautiful thing. Do 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 do. Look at all these awesome unicorn. Oh my goodness. Good morning, girl. My fellow Gen Xer, my Gen X queen. Good to see you. Yeah, the password is probably weird. Uh, or some other one that we're not supposed to say in public because I would never have a nice clean thing. Oh, y'all, please ignore my Nightbot. Okay, I really need to just yank the cord on this guy. Um, I haven't I haven't been able to figure him out, and he's more of a pain in the ass than an actual help. So I'm gonna kick that sucker to the curb one of these days. Lots of people saying good mornings, good morning, good morning. So glad you went live, Jay. I'm enjoying my coffee much more now. Aw, I appreciate that. Like I said, I figured everybody was already prepared to have a morning show, and everybody was already looking forward to hanging out. And I know I'm disappointed when I miss Johnny's morning show, because I miss that camaraderie kind of first thing in the morning. It always sets me on a good path and a good mindset for the day, just being able to hang out with everybody and joke around in the chat. Um, and so on the days when I don't get that, I notice that uh, I definitely have not, I don't necessarily have a bad day, but I can tell that my day doesn't start off as strongly. Like there's not enough of a dopamine hit there first thing in the morning to really make me feel like, yeah, I'm getting started. But, it's like online friends aren't any less than in-person friends. Actually, I have literally no friends here in Las Vegas. So being able to start out your day when you're with people that you like, and being able to, even if it's just for an hour or so, and you get to hang out and have conversation, um, it's always a great way to start the day. So I figured uh, I wanted to do something to keep everybody together this morning. This is one of the problems of being in the UK. Time zones are there to just trip us limeys up. John, I am working on a couple things for my channel so that we can be more UK friendly. Unlike that certain mystery oriented group that I won't mention, that doesn't seem to understand that you're in the UK. Iced coffee is an abomination. What? Oh, Regina. Regina, just when you and I were getting on so well. Oh, you have to understand that iced coffee is kind of a requirement among gay men. Um, so it's just one of those things. You drink iced coffee all the time, cold weather, hot weather. You drink iced coffee. It's a requirement. When you first get your tiara, you accept the rules, and one of those rules is iced coffee. Getting a dog, iced coffee, uh, somewhat of a liking for Ariana Grande, but it's not like guaranteed. Um, if you're like a Gen Xer, there's no requirement anymore to love Cher or Barbara Streisand or any of those folks, which is great. I needed that requirement dropped. The good news is if you still recruit 25 people within your first 10 years of coming out, you do still get the free toaster. So I'm very grateful for that. Unfortunately, I didn't get my toaster. I didn't recruit enough people in time, so I had to pay for my toaster. It was very disappointing. Um, Only been to the airport once and didn't even get out of the car. Nope. See, if you were in the city limits, it counts. Uh, FAFO is the second password. Honey, with me, FAFO is the first password. Row, three of us in Nightbot Corner now. I wouldn't have it any other way. That's right, Angie. That's right. Gen Xers rock. We're coming into our own now. World better look out. We taking over. Rock'em sock'em Nightbots. Don't know about Gen X, but being born in September, I know it was a very special Christmas present. Well, if you back up 9 months, yeah, you were you were definitely a present from your dad to your mom. I had to check. You are. I figured you, Angie. I had guessed that you were a Gen Xer. I had that figured out from the beginning. Uh, you are. I can see it all the time. You are definitely a Gen Xer. Let's see. Ellen says I turned off all Nightbot's mod abilities other than posting links I wanted to drop. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. Gen X humor isn't always politically correct. Boy, that's for sure. And it's usually dark. Uh, we usually have very dark sense of humor. Um, I'm trying to think what my husband is. He's barely over that line for Gen X, or I don't think he is actually. He might be early Gen X. He's 1968, so I'm not sure what it would be for 68. Uh, I think that's like just the very beginning. Sonia, my pal from forever, is a room in the resellers club for a person connector and IP converter. You all look like you're having crazy fun. Sonia, you are welcome anytime in anything I do. Guys, Sonia and I have been friends going on, I guess it's 36 years. Uh, Sonia is my college bud. We shared her mother. Um, uh, Her mother was my adoptive mother, as far as I was concerned, and Sonia is one of the most important people in the world to me. She's one of my oldest friends, and we've never lost connection. I can't say that about everybody, but Sonia and I have never lost connection because I think it's because we love each other too much. She's a wonderful, talented human being. So please, everybody, give a big welcome to Sonia. I adore her. Down with iced coffee. Are you trying to get yourself a channel ban? Is that what you're trying to do, Regina? You trying to get yourself banned? It could happen. Uh, Picks or it didn't happen, Regina. Remember that. Picks or it didn't happen. At 68, what does Jen? What Jen? I'm pretty sure that makes you a boomer, John. I think you're a boomer at 68. Everybody else would have to correct me if I'm wrong, but uh, no, Regina. He means age 68, not 1968. Uh, let's see. Do. Wow, I had no idea that this many people would come over and say hi. This is really cool. Um, 1968 is Gen X. Yeah, I'm thinking that's got to be like the very first year, right? That's got to be like early Gen X because I'm 72. I'm 1972, um, and the websites I've seen have me classified uh, as like early Gen X. Isn't Boomer a kangaroo? Or am I on the wrong continent? Actually, a boomer's a fart, um, but uh, I guess it could also be a kangaroo. But I've always heard letting off a boomer. They aren't supposed to know we like you. You know what? The line forms to the right of people that don't like me. So I am good either way, Uni. Oh, that's right, Sonia. You are allergic to coffee. That sucks. Regina's just trying to be difficult. That's what she is. She's just trying to be difficult. She's trying to stir up drama, trying to stir up trouble in my channel. Come in here with all her anti-iced coffee stuff. What's up with that? My goodness. I had so much respect for her going into today, and now look what she done. Ashley, you were born in 1985. You know why that is the best year ever? Do you know why? Do you know why? It's because it was the year Back to the Future was released. And actually, it was one of the best movie years of the entire 80s decade. Some of the best movies of all time that are still popular today were all released in 1985. Uh, and some of the best music that ever hit the charts all happened in 1985. It was this perfect storm year of the arts of uh, music and movies and television. It was an incredible year for entertainment in 1985. So uh, you were born in a good year. Yeah, Joanne, it's that time. I guess supposedly this week Starbucks is launching their all their pumpkin spice stuff for the fall. I can't believe it's fall already. I mean, you could never tell with 106 degrees outside, but I can't believe we're finally getting into pumpkin spice season again, or as I call it, the UGG boots season, as all the white women line up at Starbucks with their UGG boots and uh, their "May I speak to the manager" hair and order their pumpkin spice coffee. Um, there you go. Gen X hose drinking, riding in the bed of a truck, no helmet or padding, bike wearing survive. Hell Yes. Okay, you've redeemed yourself, Regina. I can now forgive you about the coffee because of all of this. Hell yes, drinking from the hose. Boy, do I remember that vividly. If you didn't have a truck, the other big thing was getting to ride in what was called the wayback of a station wagon, which was essentially sitting in the trunk of a station wagon. That was the good part, not the back seat. Getting to sit in the wayback was the fun part of that one. Do 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 do. Speak for yourself on that one, Uni. I didn't get to do that. Um, so uh, well, I take that back. Back when people were allowed to have lawns, back before people got all uppity about having grass, uh, we had a beautiful little sloping grassy hill uh, in our front yard in upstate New York, and many a happy hour was spent uh, lying in that grass uh, with no shoes or socks on, and that feel of the cool grass under your feet, especially on a summer night when you're out chasing lightning bugs in the backyard. Uh, Many a good time was had, but all these people joke about you need to go outside and touch grass. Um, there really is something to be said for getting outside and getting your bare feet in the grass and kind of connecting with the earth, getting that magnetic pull thing going on. If you didn't grow up with it and you never experienced it, you don't understand what it's like when it's gone. And there's nowhere for me to do that here in Vegas. Uh, but I miss that thing of being able to walk through the grass barefoot. Um, and there's definitely a feeling that you get from doing that. I mean, to me, it's along the same lines when you try to explain to somebody that, especially if you grew up in the Northeast, that uh, September smells different in the air than October. October doesn't smell like November. November doesn't smell like December. Like each month has its own very specific scent. You know when it's almost Halloween because it smells like Halloween uh, in the Northeast. And that's like a really hard thing to explain to people who haven't experienced that before. I'm an Aquarius too. Do, 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 do. It's a me, Angie. Graduated high school in '85. Okay, so you and I are fairly close in age, not too far off. I graduated high school in '90 uh, when I met my, and then went to Florida State where I met my dear friend Sonia, uh, uh, doing doing almost improv theater, I would call it, with the Mickey Faust group. But Sonia and I were active with that and active with all kinds of sci-fi and fantasy stuff. Do do do. Uh, Ixnay, Ixnay on the pumpkin puke. You know, I used to really like pumpkin spice, and now I I don't know if I'm just oversaturated with it that I just can't do it anymore. I still love pumpkin bread, um, and I kind of actually prefer sweet potato pie to pumpkin pie. But if the pumpkin pie was made decently, I'll still eat that, and that's about it. That's about the extent of it. Elton says, "I still live barefoot. I've learned to put shoes on when I step off the pen. Too many pokey things. I'd be more concerned about stepping in cow shit or something with no shoes on. There's a squish there that you don't need to feel underneath your feet." Uh, Virginia says, "No seatbelts wearing in the vehicle. My dad had a truck with a bench seat that folded down, and my sister and I would stretch out and sleep when we traveled. No seatbelt. Ah, that was living. That was living." And she said, "Heaven help you if the brakes were slammed on." Everybody goes flying. Uh, yeah, see, Angie agrees with this. Walking barefoot in the grass just does something to your soul. There's the feeling. There's people can say it's all woo woo and you know there's nothing scientific about it or what have you, but I, I'd have to disagree. Having experienced it myself, I would have to disagree. There's something about that really works. Oh my gosh, all these Aquarians! Wow. Uh, Alan says the smell of fresh cut grass, ocean breezes, leaves and fall. Oh, the smell of wet leaves. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Uh, you know, Halloween was always my favorite holiday growing up, followed by Thanksgiving, and it wasn't so much about like the candy or the trick or treating or the big dinner at Thanksgiving. It was about that smell that was in the air from October to November, that true fall. And I've always said I would move back to upstate New York in a heartbeat to experience all of that again. Um, or I'd even love to figure out a way to just live there for 6 months. Move back there from like July through June through December or something, and be able to experience another of that time of year up there. I love snow. I especially love being snowed in. The idea that you have wood for the fireplace and you've got your pantry full of food and you got a warm blankie, and the fact that you can't go anywhere, so therefore you don't have to go anywhere, but you're curled up with a good book in front of a roaring fireplace. Ah, God, I miss that. I really miss that. Uh, yep, Joanne, that was me too. Riding my bike all over the neighborhood, and with Gen Xers, your parents never knew where you were going anyway. You didn't have to come home till the street lights came on, so nobody ever knew what you were up to all day long anyway. Good morning, Miss Edna. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome to my side of the dark. Welcome to the Misty Media Diner. Appreciate you stopping in. I'm guessing you saw the note over at Johnny's place. Um, do 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 do. And yet, Sonia, you and I get along so well. But it's because you're so creative, which plays into the Aquarians. Ooh, I forgot about scorpions. Oh, I forgot about scorpions. We have scorpions here, but I've been very, very lucky. And even with it being so hot, normally that drives like the ants and the scorpions to try to move inside. And this year didn't really have it. Uh, do, 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 do. Yep. Jumping into a pile of leaves. Absolutely. That smell, the feeling, or just being completely covered, like up to your neck in leaves and being surrounded by that scent. Ugh, there's nothing. Nobody's ever created. I've yet to find a candle. Everybody's like all these candles that are autumn, and their idea of autumn is pumpkin and cinnamon, and has nothing to do with the actual smell of autumn. You hate snow and cold? Great, come here to Vegas where it's 106. See how many yucks you have. See, see, I'm not all just craziness. Mike, Ginger Hotness, hello, buddy. Good to see you, my friend. Guys, if you haven't seen the interview I did with Mike here on my channel, please check it out. It's part of the night shift. Mike was an amazing interview guest, and uh, got to find out so much more about him. He's a truly fascinating guy. He's not just all good looks. Uh, do 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 do. Angela, good morning, Miss Angela. I love you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Do do do. Angie says I love fall too, but see, you actually get fall, don't you? In Wisconsin, you actually can experience it there. Um, I really miss that. We don't, John. I mean, some areas have hedgehogs, but certainly not like you do. Yeah, jumping in a pile of leaves on your side of the pond is probably a little dangerous for the butthole, because you're going to end up with a coming down on a angry guy. Not nearly enough though, Mike, which is why I still pick on you publicly. Because I mean, look, $1.25 is great for a lot of people, but $1.25, it's a little. I mean, and she paid me a lot more to say nice things. So I'm just saying you're paying below market rate, so you can't really expect a whole lot of greatness to come back your way. Oh, I'm glad you saw it, Regina. I've asked a lot of other people to do the interview, and uh, uh, haven't had a lot of takers, um, and really want to set more people up to talk to, because uh, I like finding out the backstories on people. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but uh, I don't talk very much in that interview. And I used to be a reporter for a radio station in Tallahassee. Sonia probably remembers when I worked for WVFS. Um, and one of the things you learn early on is get the good questions out there, but then let your subject do all the talking, and you just step back and let it be all about them. Now, see, $1.65 would go a lot further, Mike. It's you could afford to be a little generous. I know you're making that sweet, sweet, sweet auction money. I've seen the stuff you sell. I mean, you know, those brooches, man, they're paying your rent and more so. Uh, well, I mean, Uni, it's not even really a secret. I have no problem saying I'm easily bribed. I'm easily bought. Um, I always tell people I'm easy. I'm just not cheap. Uh, this is true, Mike. I mean, especially since you're the only one that you were the very first person when I asked for people to interview. You were the very first person to say yes. So also, it's a late night show, but well, I was going to say we can pre-record, and the show can air as a premiere. I'm sure all of you saw what a bang up job I did doing a pre-recorded for the last train shop hop. Um, uh, I get an A for effort, and I get like a X minus for execution. There's a reason why I do lives, uh, because I don't edit or censor myself, and I don't have to worry about camera angles and what recorded and what got edited. I don't want to mess with any of that. So live is infinitely more fun for me. My humor also works a lot better when I'm live, because I can just sort of Robin Williams and I kind of had a similar sense of humor in that um, I've always just kind of played off of whatever's happening in front of me. And I don't know how my mind comes up with some of the stuff it does, but Angie will tell you I was on a roll last night with some things. Me and her husband made a lethal combination for that show last night. Um, that's right, Angie. Note to self: Jay is easy and he can be bought. Exactly. Exactly. It's very important for everybody to remember. I always say, dinner and a movie. John, going to love you and leave you. Ah, all right, sir. John, I love you. Um, thank you for everything you do for Misty Media. Thank you for everything you do for me personally. I 100% adore you and appreciate you. Uh, and I'm so glad you stopped in. I really am. Glad you got to see the madness that the maddening crowd that I'm a part of around here, which is the best group of people I could ever ask for to be surrounded by. Well, folks, it is 7 a.m. I think I did. I think I did Johnny proud. I hope getting everybody together for the day and getting everybody off to a good start. People got their coffee. People got their jokes. Uh, People got 100% of me instead of just that sidekick thing. Um, Again, I won't have a regular morning show. There's no way I'm going to compete with Johnny in that time slot. But I just really appreciate you folks stopping by. I had no idea whether or not this was going to work. I figured I would leave a message, and if anybody wanted to stop by, they were more than welcome to. Had no idea this many people would show up. So again, as always, I love all of you. I appreciate you coming by. And you never know if Johnny ever calls out sick again, or maybe on a weekend or something, I'll end up throwing together morning. Nobody really does morning shows at 7 a.m. or something like that. If you guys don't mind hitting that thumbs up on this, I would appreciate it. It just all I'm not monetized, so hello Cheryl. I'm not monetized or anything, and I don't really have a prayer in hell of it, but I would appreciate more folks discovering the Misty Media channel. It helps my authors, helps us sell more books, um, helps me with the night shift. So uh, hit the old thumbs up down there if you wouldn't mind. I would appreciate it. Love you guys tremendously. You are honestly the best group of people I could ever have found. And thank you for being so warm and welcoming to the community all these months. I will see you tomorrow morning on the morning show with Johnny. Hopefully he will be back. I'll be his co-host tomorrow, and then everything kind of goes back to normal. So take care. Have yourselves a really great Tuesday. And as I tell everybody, find a good book, read a book, good book, come back, tell me all about it. Take care, everybody.